A home constructed for a human to dwell in is called a house, mansion, or an estate. However, a home for a god to dwell in is called a temple. Temples are the homes for the gods. Yahweh is the God of gods. Deuteronomy 10, verse 17. For Yahweh your God is God of gods and Lord of lords. When he creates a house, the heavens and the earth, as his home to dwell in, his home is called a temple. Since the entire cosmos is his house, then the entire cosmos is a cosmic temple dedicated to Yahweh to dwell in. If we hold the position that Genesis 1 is about Yahweh making physical or material objects such as space-time, matter, energy, plasma, dark matter, and dark energy, the seventh-day rest does not really have much significance. Day 7 in this view seems like a throwaway day, unnecessary to the narrative. However, as we shall see, Day 7 is the point of the entire creation narrative. The ancient reader would know immediately what is going on and recognize the role of Day 7 as the climax of the entire story. The ancients had a piece of information that we do not have as modern readers. This information is that deities or gods rest in temples and only in temples. If the creation story is capped off with a rest narrative, then that signified that the story was about a creation of a God's home. God's home is referred to as a temple. And so Genesis 1 is an account of Yahweh creating a cosmic temple, a home for himself to dwell. In the ancient Near East, a temple was not a hotel or a rest stop for leisure time. Modern readers get confused because the word rest carries leisurely connotations for us. We see in the biblical text, terms like resting place and dwelling place and footstool are used throughout the Bible in reference to Yahweh, often in the same passage. People are to go to Yahweh's dwelling place or resting place or worship at his footstool. Psalm 132. We find out that his resting place is where he is enthroned. Verse 14. This is my resting place forever and ever. Here I sit enthroned. When we as moderns read passages like this with resting, dwelling, and footstool language, it doesn't really carry much weight. This is because we are ignorant of what it suggests. For Yahweh takes up his rest, and the rest is associated with the temple story or creation, then what the text is trying to communicate is that Yahweh is being enthroned. This is like when a newly elected president moves from his personal residence to the White House and makes the White House his home. He does not rule the country from his personal residence. Like the American White House, it is the hub of authority and control. It is where the work for running the country will take place. When a newly elected president looks forward to taking up his residence in the White House, it is not simply so he can kick off his shoes and snooze in the Lincoln bedroom. The president did not move into the White House to get leisure time. It is so he can begin the task of running the country. The chaos, the non-order, disorder, and final imposition of order from the campaign is over. And finally, the president can rest, rule the country. In the ancient Near East, when gods rested, they did so on thrones. Since Yahweh is enthroned, we must understand the connotations. Thrones are not places where you enjoy leisurely time. Thrones are places where a god or king rules from. In other words, it is the God's headquarters. In the biblical text, for Yahweh to take up his rest means that he takes up his rulership. The rest refers to the idea that things are now in an ordered state, ready for the assumption of operational governorship over creation. Like the initiation of a new company, it is the launch date, the grand opening, the kickoff of Yahweh's rulership. For on the seventh day, Yahweh is inaugurated and enthroned as the God King who rules from his cosmic temple, the heavens and the earth. When the deity rests in his temple, it means that he is taking command, that he is mounting to his throne to assume his rightful place and his proper role. Because of all of this monumental significance, Yahweh made a point to bless the seventh day and to make sure it was considered holy or set apart. Genesis chapter 2 verse 3. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. Why did he bless the seventh day only and make it holy? The answer is in the text. Because on it he rested. And since he rested, it means that he began to rule. Now that we understand that rest means rulership, the seventh day takes on an entirely new significance. It is the memorial of the God King taking office. And from every week forward to time memorial, all creation will acknowledge Yahweh's inauguration day, the seventh day. With this idea firmly in mind, it should provide a renewed understanding of Jesus' statement in Luke chapter 6, verse 5. The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. All eyebrows should be raised. Since Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath, then he is the God King taking office. It was his rulership that was celebrated as Lord of the Sabbath. Jesus is the second Yahweh figure. It is his own glory that Jesus in his humanity longed to return to. John 17:5. And now, O Father, glorify me together with yourself, with the glory which I had with you before the world was. These are interesting sayings of Jesus because it is clear that Yahweh does not share his glory with anyone. Isaiah 42:8. I am Yahweh, that is my name. I will not share my glory with another. This is the same Yahweh that declares a couple verses earlier, verse 5. Thus saith the God Yahweh, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spreads out the earth and its offspring, who gives breath to the people upon it, and spirit to those who walk in it. I am Yahweh. And since Yahweh does not share his glory with anyone, and Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath, then Jesus must be Yahweh. As Yahweh, he is the one who created the heavens and stretched out the earth and gives breath to the people upon it, and spirit to those who walk in it. Now that it is understood that the seventh day refers to Jesus, the second Yahweh figure's inauguration as the God King over creation, it is easy to see why he wanted to commemorate that day above all the other days in creation week. The other days only have their significance in relation to day 7, and without it are meaningless. And so Jesus, as the second Yahweh figure, established the days of the week as a perpetual cycle to be a constant reminder to commemorate his creative work and his inauguration as the God King ruler. This was the importance of blessing the seventh day alone. The seventh day continues to be holy and is sanctified from the first week of creation until today. You may hear that the Sabbath is called the Jewish Sabbath. However, there is no such thing in existence. The modern tendency is to connect the Sabbath with the Jews when Jesus, the second Yahweh figure, provides the law to Moses, and the fourth commandment reiterates that Israel was to remember Jesus as the second Yahweh figure, his inauguration ceremony, thereby remembering initially that Yahweh himself told mankind at the time when no Jews existed to keep it holy. Exodus 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. What is it that they are to remember? They are to remember Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. And why were they to remember it? Because on it, God rested. And so, fast forward through history where we find Israel, who is created to represent Yahweh as a nation, is told to remember that Yahweh blessed and hallowed that day from the beginning, to remember him as the God King over creation and observe his memorial. How were they supposed to do that? By resting and ruling with him on his inauguration day. Exodus chapter 20, verse 11. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the seas, and all that is within them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore, Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Most are unaware that this idea carries over to the creation of the new heavens and the new earth as well. Isaiah 66:22. For as the new heavens and the new earth that I will make will remain before me, says the Lord, from new moon to new moon, and from Sabbath to Sabbath, all flesh shall come and worship before me, declares Yahweh. Why will the Sabbath observance be important in the new heavens and in the new earth? Because Jesus, as the second Yahweh figure, will be inaugurated again as the God King, who will be enthroned over it as well. As you can see, the creation account has very little to do with formation of physical objects or even mankind themselves, and has everything to do with Yahweh in his inauguration ceremony, as it should.
Hey there, don't miss out on this epic opportunity to grow your faith, learn how to show that God exists, the truth of Christianity, and the reality of the New World Order by going to watchiconicplus.com and get full access to our new ebook and audiobook entitled The Woman Who Rides the Beast, where the artwork is inspired by the Apostle John's epic vision in Revelation 13. While you're there, check out our collection of Bible videos, archived podcasts, shows, and documentaries. We've also added new merch, including shoes, cups, mugs, and drinkware, pictures and posters, Samsung and iPhone cases, available only at watchiconicplus.com.